Hi, this is Marcel of Marcel on Tech, and today we're talking about one of the latest releases from Google, and that is the Google Pixel 7a. Okay, now this device is something quite special, and at the same time it has advantages and disadvantages. You've probably seen a bunch of videos. I got this very early release and I'm excited to tell you whether or not you should consider buying it or not. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're into the video for the Google Pixel 7a. Now, if you're a fan, you'll recognize the design straight away. So let's get into what I like about this device. So the form factor is very, very obvious. You can recognize the bar at the top here. You've got this familiar design feature here, and you've got this clear back as well. This is a really, really nice ocean blue, they call it, but in some lights it actually looks white. But it is really, really nice. It's like a baby blue sort of color, and I really, really like it, I have to say. What I do like about this is that it is small, 6.1. It's going to be very convenient. You slip it in your pocket, it's easy and ready to go, and it's light as a result of that as well. So it's a convenient, comfortable phone to handle, and it's got these nice rounded edges with very clicky buttons as well. So that's a nice feel. That's a nice feel. So definitely a strength in relation to this device. Now, the screen on the front, everyone's been talking about how thick the bezels are. Yes, they are definitely thicker, certainly thicker than the 7 and much thicker than the 7 Pro, but that has a waterfall edge, and some people aren't crazy about that. This has a flat screen, but you soon forget about the thick bezels. It's a shame they're there, but it's really not the end of the world. It really isn't. Otherwise, to hold in the hand, it's actually really nice. Normally, I slap a case on every phone that I get, but actually, because this has a plastic back, which is better and more resistant, I haven't dropped it, but because it's more resistant to scratches than glass tends to be, then really it's actually not that bad. And it's easy to clean, it's easy to wipe off. It's a little bit of a fingerprint magnet, of course, but otherwise it's a really, really nice in the hand feel device, so to speak. Now, the software, well, we're talking about Google, and of course, this is going to be vanilla Android all the way up. We've got Android 13 on here, of course. It will get all these software updates when they come out. There are some cons to that, but you're going to get some really nice wallpapers. I love the live wallpapers from Google. They are really, really nice. But aside from that, the functionality, the speed, to be honest, is almost on par with the 7 Pro. It's definitely on par with the 7 because, of course, it contains the Tensor G2 chip, which, of course, is Google's own proprietary hardware, which is really, really good. And it works instantly. It's very, very fast. And I've had zero glitches with it. The setup was very simple and very fast as well. So the G2 chip also comes with the Titan security chip as well, which basically means that it stores all of your personal data in a much more secure way than most Android devices do. So this comes built in just the same as the 7 and the 7 Pro. So it's absolutely comparable with those because of the fact that it contains all the same hardware from a computing standpoint as the other two major flagships. One of the features that I absolutely love that does come on board with this, which isn't necessarily a standard feature in the mid-range category, is wireless charging. Now I have a wireless charger here next to my desk. Bosh, goes on there and it starts charging. And I love that. That's super convenient because I have one in my car. I've got one by my desk, which means when I'm not holding my phone and I'm at work, it's charging. And that's very, very handy. It's not super fast charging, but it's adequate. There are downsides to this device in relation to power, but make sure you stick around to keep watching to find out what those are. Now, what do we know about Google devices? We already know that the camera quality on these is brilliant, okay? Now you've got an upgrade because where this differs from the 7, for example, is this has got a 64 megapixel lens, which we know megapixels don't make up all the difference, but when you're combining it with the computational power of Google, this is producing some very, very good images. And I've actually enjoyed comparing this to the Samsung S23 Ultra. Now, the major differences are that the Ultra tends to be much more saturated. Now, I like boosting the colors and lifting up them high. This is far more realistic. So when you see the images side by side, you can actually see that the Samsung device tends to push the colors up a little bit more, whereas this is actually what it looks like. Now, obviously, post-editing, if you wanted to boost the colors on this, you could easily do that. But if you like more realism in your images, then you cannot go wrong. And I've actually been very impressed with the main camera, the wide-angle lens, and indeed even some macro shots as well. It doesn't have a macro lens because, let's face it, they're rubbish, but it is taking really good pictures and video that I've been very impressed with, especially actually with the front-facing camera, which is a 13 megapixel. So we're on day one with the Pixel 7a, and I'm using the front-facing camera to record. Now, I am by the beach, so the ambient sound could be problematic. I have activated the voice cancellation, or at least the ambient noise cancellation as well. So hopefully the sound quality is actually very, very good coming through here. Just using the onboard mics from the phone itself, but the picture quality looks really good and there's very good stability as well. So hopefully you're enjoying that. Let's continue the testing and carry on with our walk. Okay, so unlike the other many mid-range phones, this phone, the 7a, actually has 4K video capability on the front-facing camera, which is quite impressive, to be fair. Now, we're also filming in challenging situations. There's a lot of light above me. Take those off. There's a lot of ambient sound as well. So you'll be able to judge for yourselves how well the microphones cancel out the ambient noise and focus on my voice as well. So it's a lovely, lovely area. The screen image for me looks pretty good. I'm continuing to walk, so there's a little bit of shake, but I'll be interested to know how well it stabilizes itself as well. Okay, so now we're using the rear camera on the 7a, and this again is in 4K. I've got stabilization activated as well as the audio enhancement, so hopefully you can hear me well. As you can see, there's an awful lot of noise and wind and sound coming from the sea, and obviously I've got the sun behind me as well, so how it's managing the light distribution in HDR will be interesting to see when we finish. But let me know in the comments what you think of the video quality. And in finale, one of the best aspects of this is the price. So in Spain, where I am, this is coming in at $499, or I bought it for $509, and I got earbuds bundled in with it for free. Not really for free, you're paying for it, but for a reduced price. So they're the Series A Pixel Buds, and they are okay. The actual value you're paying for them is actually pretty fair. It's about right for what they are. But of course, compatibility wise, where you've got Google Assistant in your ear, is really cool. That is very, very fun and very easy to use as well. So highly comparable. If you want to see a video on my Series A buds, then make sure you follow the link above because I've already made a video about that as well. Now let's get into some of the weaknesses of this device. Straight away, this is going up against, if we compare it to the other flagship models like the 7, the 7 is available right now for around $650 on Amazon, but there are always promotions, which means that you could potentially get a larger screen, which is 6.7, a larger battery for a similar price, if not sometimes cheaper than this, which of course has just been released. And that makes it quite confusing because the 7 offers everything the same, slightly lower spec megapixel count on the camera, but everything else is the same, but with a slightly larger screen and a larger battery. So you kind of get a little bit more for your money, especially if the price is even lower than actually what this is at the moment. So it's definitely worth shopping around to see, firstly, what form factor suits you, and then also what offers are in place. Because if you can get the 7, you're getting everything you've got here, but a bit bigger and a bit longer battery life, which is of course always a bonus because getting through the day is very important. Now, battery life on this device is okay. You will likely get to the end of your day with moderate use. If you're a heavy user like I am sometimes, particularly when I'm testing these, the battery life is very important. And when I'm using it heavily for filming, photos, video, YouTube videos, and a little bit of gaming to test it out, it does struggle to get towards the end of the day. I'm in the 10% by 9 p.m., something like that. But if I'm using it like an average user for phone calls, bit of text messaging, a little bit of YouTube, it'll definitely get through your day. But if you're a heavy user, this will struggle a little bit. But it makes sense. It's a smaller device. It's got a smaller battery as well. But no major complaints, especially considering they factored in the wireless charging aspect. Now the panel on here is a good one. It's an OLED panel, so you do get nice darks. It has got a built-in fingerprint reader, but if you don't want to use that, in fairness, the actual Face ID software is really good. I've been actually very impressed by that. Nothing new about it. The fingerprint ID is good and it works well and pretty rapidly as well. So, whoop. Of course, as with most modern devices, there is no headphone jack. And there is no SD card expansion either. So this will only come with 128 gigabytes of storage built in. There is a bigger version, but it's not available at the moment. So at the moment, 128 is all you're going to be able to get. It also comes with only one SIM card as well. So you can put an eSIM in here, or you can use one SIM, but there's no dual SIM capacity, unfortunately, in the device. But for most people, that's not usually a problem. For gaming, this is an acceptable device. You've got a smaller panel, of course. Most people like to game on the bigger devices because, of course, you get more real estate. But this device, because of the G2 Tensor chip, will definitely handle most games at the higher level of refresh rate and screen quality, etc. But what we have noticed is that it gets pretty warm. This thing does warm up in your hand, and sometimes it gets to the point where it's processing certain things, where I will do some video editing or gaming. Within around 5 minutes, it's pretty warm to the touch. So that might be a software thing that they might improve over a bit of time, but it is getting pretty warm, which of course is not a good thing because it'll then start to throttle the CPU as well. So it's worth factoring that in if you enjoy gaming on the phone. So would I recommend this phone? Yes, I absolutely would, but only if you haven't got the ability to get the 7 at a better or cheaper price, because the 7 has been out for a while now. The 7 form factor is a little better. Everything is going to be exactly the same, but just a little bit larger in terms of the screen and the battery life. So you're effectively getting the same kind of device, but a little larger. And if you can get it for a better price, then it makes sense. But this is absolutely a competitor when compared to something like a Samsung A54, which doesn't have wireless charging, has a slightly better screen, but is not quite as good. Now, the differences between that and this will get software updates up to 4 years, whereas Samsung will take it that one step further up to 5 years, and you'll get more security updates on the Samsung as well, which is very bizarre, but that's how they operate. If those things don't really matter to you, you definitely won't miss out getting this device because it's very convenient to carry, it's light, it's small, it's comfy in the hand. I've got quite big hands, so it's good for me. But for everyone else, it is a good device, and the software combined with the hardware really does make this a compelling purchase. And if you can get it on special offer or with an extra bundled in, like the earbuds that I got, it really is a no-brainer. So it's a fantastic device, and the photography, if that's important to you, is a real winner. So I'd give this a B+ rating. And you won't be disappointed if you buy it. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you comment below if you've got one or if you'd like one. And if you've got any questions about the device, make sure you comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon in my next one. Bye-bye for now.